Direct tax code. You're all set to hear a lot about these three words in the coming months. Former Finance Minister P Chidambaram recently told the House that it is probably the best time to introduce DTC or direct tax code.
This government claims that it will dump all the old legacies. This is one legacy this government must dump immediately. And I think the entire Income Tax Act must be replaced by a direct taxes code.
So what is DTC that could potentially replace the existing income tax regulations, and how it will impact companies and individuals' tax outgo? I'm Sachin Dave, Senior Editor with Economic Times, and will try to answer some of these questions. Before we go into what is DTC, let us first go into what is income tax framework. Basically, there are two types of taxes that any individual or company pays: direct tax and the indirect tax. So if you buy, say for instance, a car, you don't directly pay the government, the tax to the government. You pay to, say, the company, Maruti Suzuki or the BMW, and the company pays tax to the government. This is called indirect tax. Direct tax is something that you directly pay to the government, like the income tax that you pay on your salary or on your income. The government has brought in an overhaul in the indirect tax system by introducing goods and services tax. Since 2017, the current government has also been trying to bring the similar overhaul in the direct tax system. So comes DTC. DTC is not really that new a concept. Even former governments have been trying to implement DTC.
When we were in government, I had helped draft a direct taxes code. Then the Honorable Mr. Pranam Mukherjee tried to improve it. When I returned to the Finance Ministry, I tried to improve it. There are three versions of a direct taxes code. Many of the provisions will be outdated. So get rid of all of them. But please bring a direct taxes code immediately. No one benefits from this Income Tax Act except the chartered accountants and the lawyers.
The main issue that people say is that there are about 700 sections in current income tax framework or the Income Tax Act. The Act has not been changed since 1950. Now you can imagine, India has grown, the technology has grown, and a lot of things have changed since 1950s, but our Income Tax Act remains the same. This leaves with a lot of loopholes. Not just that, there are a lot of contradictions, because as the time went by, the government introduced a lot of amendments to tackle the tax realities of India. That left many chartered accountants and lawyers with a lot of loopholes, which means that the government feels that this particular thing has to be sorted out. The first change that DTC wants is to simplify the tax framework. From 700 sections, the DTC wants that these sections should be brought down to 300. This would not just simplify the way individuals and companies pay taxes, but this will also provide a lot of clarity when it comes to income tax. There are several changes that DTC has proposed, and some of them are really interesting. For instance, DTC says that anybody who earns more than 55 lakh should probably face lesser taxation. So the tax rate might just go down for people earning more than 55 lakh. Another change that DTC hopes is to create more tax slabs or simplify the tax slabs for individuals. Apart from that, DTC has also proposed better tax regulations or tax framework for startups. DTC also wants parity of income tax rates for Indian as well as multinationals. But at the same time, DTC also wants that multinationals pay something called a branch tax. Apart from that, DTC also wants no DDT, that is dividend distribution tax, and some other changes as well. Whether the government accepts this or not is yet to be seen. In some cases, the government has chosen some of these proposals. Government has implemented some of the recommendations of the last report on DTC, such as the one around the startups. Throughout history, whether you look at the Mughal Empire or the British Empire, income tax has been a barometer for a king's or probably a queen's judiciousness. Now, whether India will adopt or embrace DTC, that is the way of the future, or it will continue to cling on to the income tax framework, the current income tax regulation, only time will tell.